Good evening, dear Professor Cadena and classmates. Alirio Angarita, Angela Castiblanco, and Andrea Vaquero welcome you to our podcast for the second module of our course, Language and Globalization. In this module, we were asked to read Gradle, Kirkpatrick, and Mackay in order to learn, understand, and reflect on language spread and shift, likewise having the possibility to analyze critically the relationship between language, culture, identity, and the impact of globalization within the framework of English language teaching. First of all, we find Kirkpatrick with the part C of his book World Englishes, that is also a summary of the key themes we need to be prepared to work with the part 3 about the implications for English language teaching. Kirkpatrick summarizes the ideas in the book so far, and some of the most relevant information we find is: first, Philipson's response to Davis' critique of L1 by stating that linguistic imperialism is a subtype of linguism and it is used to draw parallels between hierarchization and the basis of race, gender, and language. Then we have the processes through which varieties of English go around, where we find exonormative model, which corresponds to English spoken by the settlers that arrive in a particular country, and endonormative model, which corresponds to the process through which an important variety goes on its way to becoming a local variety. Last but not least, we found three models for the development cycles of new varieties of English, where we have the theories of Cashrew, Moak, and Schneider. In first place, we have Cashrew, who established three stages: non-recognition, coexistence of local and imported varieties, and recognition. In the first stage, the speakers of the local variety are prejudiced against it. In the second, the local variety is now used in a wide number of situations and for a wide range of purposes, but is still considered inferior to the imported model. And in recognition, the local variety becomes recognized as the norm and becomes socially accepted. Then we have Moak, who considers 5 elements: transportation, when English arrives in a place where it has not been spoken before and remains to stay; indigenization, relatively long phase during which the new variety of English starts to reflect the local culture and becomes different from the transported variety; expansion in use, sees the new variety being used in an increasing number of situations and for more and more purposes; institutionalization, the use of the local variety as a language learning model in school; and decline, he suggests that the Philippines and Malaysia, for example, are countries where the increased official promotion of local language results in a decline in the use of the local variety of English. Finally, we have Schneider, who also considers 5 elements. Foundation, this is when English begins to be used in a country where previously English was not spoken. Exonormative stabilization, this means that the variety spoken is closely modeled on the variety imported by the settlers. Nativization, it sees the establishment of a new identity with the coupling of the imported and local varieties. Endonormative stabilization, it is when the new variety becomes gradually accepted as the local norm or model. And differentiation, at this stage the new variety has emerged and this new variety reflects local identity and culture. Kirkpatrick also mentions that Cashrew, Moak, and Schneider agreed in general terms that new varieties of English pass through a series of stages, starting with a reliance on exonormative varieties and a prejudice against the local variety, through the stage where the local variety receives the acceptance and becomes the classroom model. On the other hand, in this module, we'll also focus on English Next by David Rohl, paying close attention to the second section that responds to economy. In first place, we can learn about the rise of the BRICS, that is the union of 5 emerging national economies. Here we have Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Economic relationships between the developed countries and those of the third world are changing. Economies from India and China have been growing fast, as well as Brazil and Russia. Is this a threat or an opportunity? Let's see 4 reasons. First, linguistic interests require higher levels of communication. That is why agriculture and industrial sectors are not growing as exported services. Second, China and India are considered planetary powers, making some countries scared of the possible political consequences of that global shift of economic power. Third, China's self-confidence might play down the importance of any other country. And last, China and Mandarin as a foreign language may be seen as a growing investment. We also found some terms like globalization, ITO, and BPO. To understand them better, we have first, outsourcing. The cheaper labor cost is, the more expensive the products are. Outsourcing ship communications allow countries to keep in touch no matter how separate from a physical location they are. ITO and BPO allow countries to subcontract services all around the world. English is so desirable in the outsourcing business because of its importance in offshore contracts corporations. The knowledge economy. Each country maintains its competitive advantage as destination for outsourcing only for a relatively short time. Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong used to manage the manufacture of computer business, now China does. Enhancing critical thinking and creativity is one of the main goals from Norway to Singapore. Knowledge process outsourcing may replace BPO due to the kind of skills required for each area. Now, about the redistribution of poverty. English is regarded as an access to wealth for national economies, organizations, and individuals. The distribution of poverty will be closely associated to the distribution of English. Finally, we have found a very special graphic where we can see the status of each of these countries, beginning with India and finishing with Sri Lanka. In many countries, remittances from expat workers make a significant contribution to the national economy. Migrant workers remit money which acquired or maintained during periods of employment difficulty in their home country. And that's all for today. Thank you so much, Professor Cadena and colleagues. Here you can find some of the references. And if you have any doubt or suggestion, please don't hesitate and contact us. Thank you so much. Your host team, Alirio Angarita, Ángela Castiblanco, and Andrea Vaquero.